So with this little journal, I've created all these little pockets, and I've got some plain sheets too, but it's just like pocket galore right now. All these different little pockets. So I thought, well, I'm going to start actually working in the journal. I know I have a ways to go before I start filling it and we get all the yummy pages done. But I thought, you know, this journal is going to be good because it'll challenge you guys to do a little bit of soul searching, where you can use my techniques and ideas, but then just really develop your own personal journal, almost like, you know, your little memoir, wish list, bucket list, inspiration, goals, whatever it is that you're doing. And so what I decided to do is, there's a lot of things that I have been researching lately, and one of them is the earth ships. I don't know if you've heard of earth ships. They are, it's biotechnology where it's like a literally self-sufficient home. You can live off the grid and it's self-sustaining. So you know, produce your own heat. It's eco-friendly. It's all designed and created by recycled and repurposed materials. And I thought, you know, I'm going to start kind of collecting, as I do research, I want to collect some images of them and make little notes. So I thought this is a good kind of start to this journal, where I'm going to start collecting information, and then I can create it in like an artistic way. And what I like about the stuff that I collect, or the things that I'm interested in, there's always some kind of artistic element. And the architect who designs the earth ships, he actually started designing them purely for his own sole purpose, because he wanted to construct, you know, an eco self-sustaining home off the grid for himself. And he was trying out new things and designing these homes, and it just really started taking off all over the world. So now he actually designs homes all over the world, and I'm fascinated by them. And as you research and you know, watch the videos of how they create the home, it's just, I think it's kind of like every artist's wonder. So what I did, I'm going to do a little zine, a couple little zines for my book, but I'll just do a few to get you started. And so what I did was, I had to, of course, do some research and gain whatever pictures that I found interested on the internet, and just kind of paste them in a Word document. And I did it this way, which is easy, where they're all, I just kind of sized them so they'd all fit. They were the same size, so I knew that I could fit them on the same piece of paper. And so I've got, initially when I was going to do the zine, I was going to do a front and back, but then I came up with another idea. So I'm just going to start out by cutting the pictures out, but I'm just going to cut the strips for now. I want to see what fits, because like I said, my original idea, I decided to kind of ixnay, and I came up with something else. So originally, and why I did it this way, is so that how come this isn't cutting? I feel like something's missing out of here. Oh, something is missing. No wonder it's not cutting. A piece of my cutter came out. That is really bizarre. I've never had that happen to me before. Huh. I'm gonna make sure that goes in. Isn't that weird? I don't know what I was doing to make this come out. Okay. So, sorry, as I was saying, originally I had it printed so that I could literally like glue them back to back, and I could fold it up and kind of tuck it in. And that is one way of doing it. But I thought, I've got so many pockets. I've got so much room, and I really need to start utilizing that. And then on top of that, I kind of wanted to keep with the like eco dyeing kind of aged look, you know, with all the papers and the designs. So one way is you can use one of your eco dyed papers, or the ones that I provided for you as the background, and then we can fold it up that way so it's kind of like a cover. Or if you've got other papers, which I do, I've got these little packs. I think they're 7 Gypsies packs. So they have like the letter and envelope, but they've got that age kind of look. And I thought, well, it's kind of, I'm going to try incorporating a little bit more of some other stuff so that it's not looking so unified. So I'm going to use that today. And if you have other paper that you want to use, go ahead. You can use craft paper, anything really. But we're trying to like use resurfaced materials, repurposed materials, and this one looks really cool. Another thing you can do is, you know, when you go grocery shopping and you get those paper bags, is you can, you know, cut up a couple Trader Joe bags or something like that. Those are pretty cool. So, the images that I have, I've got some that show like the outside of these earth ships. And then, so this is the outside of one, and they build, like half of the home is actually underground, whether they pile up the sand over the back of it, and it's to conserve energy and keep the home cool as well at the same time. But they use recycled rubber tires that they just kind of stack on top of each other, and they fill with sand and dirt. And then they put the mud and the mixture that they use for the walls against it. So I liked this picture because it showed the tires, and you could really see some of the materials. And then with the walls, like all these holes that you see, they look like holes. They're actually glass bottles, and they're a variety of just like alcohol bottles they use, pop bottles, but they have to be glass. They could be like jars that you've had pickles in, whatever. So I found this piece that showed a close-up of the walls, and they do that as an architectural and design element, and I thought that was really cool. So I wanted to include that as well. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut another piece, and I'm actually going to tape it together so that I can make like a longer zine. And I like how this has, it's like a Venezuela kind of, oh no, this is, when is this? Is it Venezuela? Venice. I think it's Venice. Whoops. Venice, Venezuela. Okay, so I need one of the same width. So I'm just going to trim it here. And I think I'm going to do the other side just to get a little bit of something else. Okay, so I've got my papers, I've got some masking tape, I've got a glue stick, and I've got my images. So the first thing that I want to do is, I want this on the back. I want the stamp and this texture on the back. So the first thing we got to do is mend the pages together, and we could use a little bit of glue just to tack it, but I'm also going to use some masking tape. So we're just going to piece the zine together. And I am going to have to trim it a bit because there's a little bit sticking out here. It's like a little 1/8 of an inch. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to use this paper as the back, and we're going to put our images on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the images. Because I want a little bit of that paper in behind to come through. So I've got all my little individual images, and I am going to put some on the front too. So first thing I'm going to do is we're going to fold it in half. Wait, let me figure this one out. Okay, so you want the back sheet facing you. I'm going to fold it in half. I forgot to put the tape on. Whoa, you guys, I am just not on the ball today, am I? Okay. Put the masking tape. Okay, so we want the back facing up for the masking tape part. Get an extra long piece because we're going to wrap it all the way around. So just go over the seam. It's going to be the spine of the little zine, and flip it. And you can use washi tape if you like. I'm just choosing to use masking tape because I want that neutral palette. And I'll just cut a little bit off there so it doesn't double up. Okay, get your bone folder. Make sure it's nice and flat. Okay, and then you want the back cover up. So this is the cover that when it's all folded, it's going to show. So we're going to fold it in half. Actually, I apologize. I did it wrong. I usually only do 2 folds, so I wasn't concentrating. So hopefully you're watching this and you're not trying to follow along with me. I apologize. Okay, so the inside of the book, this is the cover, is going to face up because we're doing 2 folds. So we're going to fold it inward in half. Okay, there we go. And then what we got to do is we've got to do 2 folds here, so we almost have to do an accordion. And this is where I'm not much of a measure. If you're a stickler on measuring, you can get your ruler out, see how long it is. I don't even know where my ruler is. It was here a second ago. But what I like to do is just eyeball it, and I like this part to stick out just a tad, so the cover will be a little bit hanging over. So I've kind of eyeballed it, and then when we do the second one, it'll be a little easier. But see how when I fold it, there's just a little bit hanging over there, but then this, where the spine of the little zine is going to be flush. So we're going to start here, and we're going to use our folder and just kind of burn it out. Okay, so it's like a little bit of an accordion. And then we're going to flip it over, and we're going to do the same thing here. So then this time when you do it, just match up the end piece. Oops. Match up the end piece. And then you also have to match up the back. And what I like to do is just kind of hold it and make sure it's in place before I start really pressing down. Okay, so that's the back. And then cover folds over a bit. Now I'm folding this part first because I want to fill the pages and I want to strategically place the images in. So we know this is going to be the front. You could pick whichever one you want as the front. I do like this and I don't really want to cover it. So I think I'll put a stamp here or write Earthship so I know what this little zine is about, and then I'll start putting the images in the inside and back. So the first thing I want to do is start with the main image so that when I'm opening my book, I will see that this is what the Earthship looks like. And I'll leave a little bit of room here so I can write some little notes. So let's get that glued down. So just get your glue stick out. I have some dried flowers stuck on my glue stick. And then if you want to fold as you go, you can do that. So that's the first fold. The second fold was here. I'll go ahead and fold that. And then I'm going to see what I can fit. So this was another full image of the outside. And then here we have the glass. So this actually ends up working out nice. I like the fact that I've got space for writing here. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this one in. That shows the recycled tire because I do want to make notes. And, you know, your zine doesn't have to have space for wording, but my particular zine, and, you know, if you're going to fill this little journal with things that you love and things that, you know, mean something to you or that inspire you. You don't have to use words. It can be a visual dialogue, so you can do more collaging if you want and have pieces of them all over, but we'll do stuff like that too moving forward. So just kind of giving you little options along the way. It's nice to try new things. That's the whole purpose of it. And then I've got the glass here at the end. These are so cool. I thought this was the most inspiring thing. And they actually build walls out of plastic bottles, believe it or not. I thought that was clever. You know, you can't get rid of plastic, so it's a good use for it. Okay. So I've got that in there. And there is my inside cover of my zine. Isn't that cool? And then I'm going to do little notes. And what I love about this journal is how my little pen is stuck in here. So I'm going to write Earthship design ideas. So here I'm going to write recycle tires used for insulation and recycled glass bottles for architectural aesthetic. With the Earthship design. So all the Earthships have are equipped with these indoor greenhouses where you can grow your own vegetables, your own food, and they're always facing south. So the north part of the building is the part that's covered underground, and there's always 20 feet of earth backing it up. It's backed up again, so you can actually build these into cliff walls or, you know, hillsides. If not, they actually pile the earth up above it. But the greenhouse portion of it is always facing south to get maximum sun exposure, and then they can control the climate and within the home as well. That's one of the ways they do it. So Earthship Design, south facing greenhouse. And then I'll put rear tire wall to north. And there's my little inside zine. Isn't that adorbs? So cute. And you can just look at it this way too, like a little book. Okay, so then I'm not done because I do want to get pictures on the other side too. So I've got images of the greenhouse. I've got 2 different images. And then I've got one of an interior where it shows one of the interior walls and it's looking south facing. And you can see they use the little glass balls or glass bottles within the walls as well. So cool. And everything's very earthy inside of it. So let me see how I can do this. I don't want to cover that, but I think I'm going to try to find something there. I'm going to put this one on the back because I think with these ones I am just going to leave images, and I can always write a little something there. So I think I'm going to do it that way. Actually, maybe I'll reverse this. I'll put this image here on the back, and that on the side. I'll kind of bunt this up so I can do some writing in there. All right, so let's glue this down. I'm so excited to do this little journal. When I was doing the eco dyeing, and I found this pocket journal that I wanted to repurpose with all the eco dyed paper, I was, you know, brainstorming, what am I going to do with it? I've got a ton of ideas, but what's appropriate for this type of journal that's using all recycled materials? And I was thinking, oh my gosh, with everything I'm looking, I want to investigate these earth ships, and then on top of that I'm, you know, wanting to start a little greenhouse in my backyard. I thought, oh, this is such a perfect little art journal that I can keep all my ideas and inspiration in, and at the same time have fun doing, you know, new techniques, different techniques to keep it exciting. So it worked out perfect. Okay, let me get the last page on. Okay, just refold that. And there's my little zine. Isn't that adorable? It's so cute. And then on the back, you can just flip this way. I'm going to write some little notes. And I've got the front cover, which I want to do something. I'll probably stamp something. Let's see. And then this way, I'm going to just write going vertical. And I thought that would be a nice little touch for my zine. So let's see interior spec, greenhouse, and recycled bottle wall. There. So you can look at the zine this way to see the interior specs, or you can open it this way to see the exterior specs. And then here, let's see what I've got. I thought I grabbed a little something. Sometimes I have all these little things. I don't think they apply. Let's see. Juicy details, drama, nope. Girls' night out, nope, that's not going to work. But I do have one here that says details, so what I'm going to do is, let's see, I'm going to get a stamp. Okay, I just have a little E stamp here. So I'm going to do E, and I'll just write the rest. Earth, ship. So the architect's inspiration for doing these and naming it Earthship was, he said it's reminiscent of a ship when you're on the ocean, and it contains everything you need for survival. It has your headquarters, it has your food, it has heat, electricity, and it's all self-sufficient in the middle of the water. So that's what inspired him to call it an Earthship, because it was the same kind of idea, but it's actually in the earth. And then I have this one little rub on here that says details. So I'm just going to overlap it. I'm going to rub this on just as a nice little added design. And this little zine is called Earthship Details. How cute is that? And then I thought, you get a little bit of twine. I've got all kinds of baker's twine here. Just get a little piece. You don't have to do this, but I always like to add a little something. And you know, just tie that on there like that, loosely. Well, that's not going to work. Gonna have to tie it again. Little bow. Probably should have did a little bit longer of a string. There we go. But how cute is that? And then I'm going to go ahead and stick it in my Eco Junk Journal, and I'm totally okay with it sticking out. I like it sticking out. I made some tags that stick out, and I'm just going to continue filling this journal, the pockets, with all kinds of inspiration to the things that I have been researching. And there's room here too. I mean, I think what I might do is do some stamping or maybe some collaging to focus on this page being about the Earthships. Yeah, so that's our little tutorial today on the little mini zines. I hope you enjoyed it, and you'll join me next week in our tainted paper group here, and we will be designing some more stuff for our journals. All right, we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching, guys.